If you drive a sports car, your biggest problem is most likely to be speeding. But for one car lover in Brentwood, it's actually parking. Steve Lopez has the story of a driver with a vision, a Ferrari with $1 million view, and neighbors with big complaints.
Yeah, baby. Living large behind the wheel of a 360 horsepower, 12-cylinder Ferrari BBI. It makes driving around LA almost palatable. Wrapped in this low-slung steel gray honey, I'm posing till closing. Now, when you settle a ride like this in for the night, it won't be on the blacktop next to your double-wide. Oh, no, no, no. And if you're Holger Schubert, this prancing horse must rest someplace really special. That's where his problems and our story begin. There's a bridge in this story. Yes, a bridge. It's LA, right? The Ocean View Hills of Brentwood, to be exact. A place where lots of people can buy pretty much whatever they want. Holger Schubert, a designer, built a bridge in his front yard. Why, you ask?
That was my ultimate dream, to have a very special garage. I've had different cars, they end up in the garage. You see them when you're driving. Once you get home, that's it. You know, you don't spend time in the garage. In this case, I specifically made a point in creating a parking space for that car.
And that special place is his living room. That's right, Schubert built a short bridge from his street over a small ravine into a newly built man cave, as he sometimes calls it. It's a project that has brought neighbors together like never before, in opposition. Yep, they've got a real catfight going on in beautiful Brentwood.
Mr. Schubert came to the neighbors in 2006 and said he wanted to build a pedestrian bridge. You cannot build a pedestrian bridge without getting a variance.
William Burnside lives directly across the street from Schubert and thought the variance process would give neighbors time to weigh in before Schubert started building.
We were told about 6 months after that by Mr. Schubert that he had a way of doing this now where we had no input, there was no need to give any input, and he was proceeding and we were not to be involved. We then discovered that the city had approved a vehicular bridge.
In hindsight, I would have never pursued a pedestrian bridge. I would have gone straight for this bridge that I ended up building. And it would have been different, because then the personal feeling of deceit would have not played into this, which I believe is the ultimate cause of this.
When you hear the word bridge, you're thinking Golden Gate Bridge, Brooklyn Bridge, bridge over the River Kwai. This here, this ain't no bridge. It's more of a glorified ramp. To hear Burnside's attorney, Victor De La Cruz, tell it, it's not just about the bridge, but how Schubert went about building it.
What he did is that he shopped around, I think, essentially went to a whole bunch of people within the planning department and building and safety to try to figure out a way that he could do this no matter what. And what eventually ended up happening is that he relied on a zoning administrator interpretation that allows you to have a vehicular bridge when there's no other way to access your property.
Of course, Schubert could have parked his Ferrari by using a second entrance to his property, but he didn't, claiming that driveway wasn't safe on such a curvy road.
In this case, Mr. Schubert demolished a 3-car garage, claimed hardship that he needed vehicular access, and basically, as you put it, parked his Ferrari in his living room.
He definitely did not need the bridge. Why he built it, I don't know. Apparently he wanted to have a Ferrari in his structure that had an ocean view.
Mr. Burnside wakes up Saturday, finds out I'm building a bridge, the bridge that he did not want me to have for his personal reasons. How did this guy get a bridge? So gets on the phone with his powerful law firm and says, I don't care what this takes, get rid of this bridge. And this is what we're fighting against.
Make no mistake about it, some people around here really don't like Holgar's Bridge, which is just behind this fence. But if you hang around the neighborhood long enough, you begin to realize there might just be a few more issues at play. The biggest issue? Schubert has been bulldozing, hammering, and raising dust for 5 years with no end in sight. The showcase for his Ferrari was but one small piece of his grand scheme to remodel several structures and construct a dream property for his wife and kids. All around his land, that noise echoes through the canyon. Morel Levine lives next door.
When you're up in your study doing your work and the construction is going, what does it sound like?
Well, it depends. I mean, if he's got his bulldozer up there, my room is vibrating. I have a lot of glass windows that are vibrating. It's noisy.
Have you had any structural problems here? Any cracks in the foundation?
Hard to tell what's earthquake and what's Holger. I like to think it's all earthquake.
Mrs. Levine's husband, Norman, is a little more certain about the matter.
It's pure spite. I think what really upsets people is the duration of the construction. It's a large project. Holger is very creative, and there have been many iterations of walls and retaining walls, etc. And he sort of made it up as he's gone along.
It seems as if city officials have been making it up as they go along, too. On 2 occasions, Schubert got the go-ahead from City Hall to build his bridge, but now a review board has reversed that decision, and Schubert is appealing even as he vows never to tear his bridge down.
We're still under construction. It's not going to stop. We're going to finish. We're going to live here. And so I wonder, what is this all about? Why?
What's truly at issue, Norman suggests, is something that goes beyond permits and variances. In a metropolis of millions pressed in against each other, is there a duty to think about the guy next door?
I think the issue is really one of boundaries. What do neighbors owe one another? Is it peace and quiet?
If serenity is what they're after, Holger Schubert's neighbors aren't going to prevail anytime soon. With a desk full of blueprints in Schubert's workshop, years of additional construction will drown out the sound of that prized Ferrari. I'm Steve Lopez for SoCal Connected.